You know that feeling, right? That first crisp chill in the air, the one that makes you kind of instinctively pull your jacket a bit tighter.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe you start dreaming about a warm fireplace.
Exactly. Or perhaps you've walked into a room and it felt so cold you could, I don't know, almost see your breath.
Definitely been there.
Well, today we're taking a deep dive into something that, well, it seems simple, but it's absolutely fundamental to our comfort, our wallets, and even the planet. We're talking about heating.
That's right. Heating might seem pretty straightforward, turn a dial, get warm. But it's actually a fascinating way to look at so many parts of our daily lives.
Like what sort of things?
Well, everything from the technology we rely on now to the history of how people kept warm for like ages, and even our relationship with the environment, which is pretty critical.
Okay.
So understanding heating isn't just about, fiddling with a thermostat. It's really about comfort, safety, money, and just navigating the modern world.
Gotcha. So our mission for this deep dive then is to unpack the sources you've given us. We've got everything from like a real family dialogue you might have had yourself,
Mm-hmm.
all the way to detailed stuff on global warming and energy use. We're going to pull out those key bits of knowledge, hopefully find some surprising facts, and definitely get some practical takeaways for you.
It's like a plan.
Okay, let's jump right in with a scenario that I think almost everyone can relate to. We looked at this dialogue, right? A daughter saying, "Dad, it's freezing in here. Can I turn up the heat?"
Yeah, the classic plea.
And the dad comes back with, "Don't touch that thermostat. You don't pay the bills around here." What's really going on in that little exchange?
Well, what jumps out immediately is how subjective temperature is, right?
Mhm.
But we use really strong words. She says freezing.
Right, like ice forming cold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For most of us, that means extreme cold, like real discomfort. But maybe her dad feels it's just, chilly.
A bit nippy, maybe needs a sweater.
Precisely. Means a sweater, maybe a hat.
Uh-huh.
And that little difference in words, freezing versus chilly, that often sparks these family debates. It reflects different comfort levels, sure, but maybe also different priorities.
And the dad's line about running up his heating bill, that's so relatable too. We all worry about costs going up, don't we?
Oh, absolutely. That phrase, run up, it just perfectly captures that idea of, increasing how much you owe.
Like running up a phone bill or an electricity bill.
Exactly. It's that feeling of losing control over spending. And then the daughters worry about catching a cold. That's interesting, too. It links being cold to getting sick, even if scientifically it's about viruses.
Right, you catch a cold, like catching a ball almost. It's a common fear.
It is. And this whole little argument, it seems so everyday, but it actually shines a light on deeper things, doesn't it? Like individual comfort versus the household budget, financial pressures,
Yeah.
maybe even generational differences in how we think about energy. The sources mentioned the dad might have grown up with something like a furnace in the living room,
So interesting.
which is a world away from modern central heating that you barely even see. It makes you think, how does our own past shape how we use heat now? What arguments like this do you remember?
That's a really good point. And speaking of furnaces, let's maybe shift from the family drama to the actual nuts and bolts, the history of how we keep warm. You mentioned the thermostat was key in that dialogue. Most of us know it, that little box or dial on the wall. But it's more than just a thermometer, right? It's like the control panel for your home's temperature. It gives you the power.
It really does, the command center, like you said earlier. And usually that thermostat is wired into what we call central heating. Super common now, especially in places like North America, a lot of Europe too.
So one main system heats the whole house.
Pretty much. It pushes warm air through vents or hot water through pipes to radiators in different rooms.
Mm.
It's very different from older methods like that furnace that Dad might remember.
What was that like?
Well, picture like a big stove-like thing, often right in the living room. You'd maybe feed wood or coal into it. It wasn't just for heat. People often used it for cooking, heating water, drying clothes. It was really the center of the home back then.
I can kind of relate to that central feeling. I grew up in Chicago. Winters are seriously cold there.
Oh, I bet.
And even though we had central heat, we also had a fireplace. And it wasn't just extra heat. It was the place everyone gathered. Even if the main heat was turned down to save cash, we'd be around the fireplace, reading, talking. It had this real warmth, a community feel.
That's a great image. And that history connects directly to today's issues, actually, because while fireplaces are cozy, burning wood causes pollution.
Right, I've heard about that.
Yeah, leading to things like clean air laws or smoke control zones in cities, which is partly why you see more electric fireplaces now, cleaner, though maybe less about actual heat, more about the look.
Okay, so what other types of heating did the sources mention, beyond central heating and fireplaces?
Well, there's quite a range. We've got standard central heating with its parts, the boiler that heats the water, the pipes that carry it, and the radiators that release the heat. Then there's electric heating.
Like those little portable heaters.
Exactly. Those ones you just plug into a socket and switch on. They often have a glowing coil inside, sometimes a fan to blow the heat out. There's also underfloor heating, which is electric too. And a big safety thing with electric heaters: never, ever cover them. Always see that warning, do not cover.
Good point. What else?
Gas heating is very common. Using gas furnaces or heaters are usually pretty efficient cost-wise, but safety is huge here. Potential gas leaks, and the big one, carbon monoxide.
The silent killer.
That's the one, which is why carbon monoxide detectors are absolutely essential, non-negotiable. And getting annual inspections by a pro, really important for safety and just, peace of mind.
Makes sense. Any others?
Then you have the more traditional wood or coal heating, still used in some places, using fireplaces or stoves, which are like closed boxes for the fire. That involves dealing with firewood or logs, clearing out ashes, making sure the chimney is clean, dealing with smoke.
A bit more hands-on.
Definitely. And finally, for just personal comfort, you've got things like electric blankets, those old school hot water bottles, heated pads, or just a really good thick comforter or quilt. Things to help you warm up quickly, wrap yourself up, or just cuddle down.
Okay, so we've covered the mechanics, the history, but just having the right words is also super important, isn't it? Just for everyday life when it comes to heating.
Absolutely crucial.
Imagine being somewhere new, trying to explain you're too cold, but not having the vocabulary. It's why simple phrases like, it's freezing in here, or let's turn on the heat, or maybe, uh-oh, the heater isn't working, are so common and useful.
And that need for clear language gets even more important when something goes wrong and you need to call for help, like a repair person.
Right. What did the sources say about that?
They gave some really good examples, like on a phone call, be specific. Hi, I need some help with my heater. It's just not heating properly. Or if it's urgent, is there any chance someone could come and take a look today?
Straight to the point.
Exactly. And if you're writing an email, you can give more detail. Something like, the heating system in my apartment isn't working, the radiator in the bedroom stays cold, and the temperature on the thermostat doesn't change when I adjust it. Being clear saves everyone time.
And for travelers, that's a big one, being able to ask, does the apartment actually have heating? Or the all-important money question, is heating included in the price?
Oh yeah, those are vital questions. Can make a huge difference to your trip comfort and your budget.
Definitely.
And even when you're just trying to fix a small issue yourself, understanding advice is key. Simple things like, try turning the dial to the right, or are you sure all the windows are closed?
The basics, yeah.
Often the first step. But what's also neat is how many words we have beyond just cold or warm. You can say it's boiling hot, or frosty cold, or just cool, or maybe nice and toasty, or even just lukewarm.
Adds a bit more flavor to the conversation.
It really does. Allows for much more natural communication about how we're actually feeling.
And this is where it gets really interesting for modern life, I think. How heating now connects with technology in our daily routines. We're talking timers, smart heating systems.
Yeah, the game changers.
Stuff you control from your phone or even just by talking to it. Phrases like, set the timer for 7 p.m. or use the app to turn the heat down. That's just normal talk now for a lot of people. Our homes are getting smarter.
They really are. Which brings us to the bigger picture, doesn't it?
Right. Because heating obviously keeps us comfortable, but its impact goes way beyond our own homes. It's a massive factor in energy use globally and, well, its effect on the planet.
It's huge. When you connect the dots, heating uses a lot of energy. And quite often, that energy comes from non-renewable sources. Things like coal, natural gas, fossil fuels.
And burning those releases.
Carbon dioxide,
Yeah.
CO2, loads of it into the atmosphere. And that's a major, major driver of climate change. It's the opposite of renewable energy sources like solar power or wind power, which are much cleaner.
So given that, what are the options? How do we find cleaner ways to heat our places and maybe just use less energy overall? What can we actually do?
That's the critical question, isn't it? And the sources point to several solutions, some big, some small. A really important one is improving insulation.
Like stuffing material in the walls?
Kind of, yeah. Adding materials to walls, attics, around windows. doors, basically creating a better barrier to keep the warm air in during winter and cool air in during summer, actually. Using things like energy-saving windows, maybe double-glazed glass, and just finding and sealing drafts. These aren't small tweaks. They can make a huge difference to energy waste.
So building smarter and maintaining better. What about the tech side again?
Definitely. The move towards smart heating systems is big here, too. They're not just fancy gadgets. They let you control heating really precisely.
Like room by room.
Yeah, or zone by zone, often using your phone or setting detailed timers. So you're only heating where you need it when you need it. It's about being efficient, not just turning everything on. And then there's solar heating.
Using the sun.
Exactly. Putting solar panels on the roof to capture the sun's energy. It's clean energy, green technology. A truly renewable way to get heat or hot water.
Okay, those sound like bigger projects. Are there smaller things too?
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
Loads of small everyday changes add up. Simple stuff like just wearing warmer clothes inside instead of cranking the heat, using heavy curtains at night to keep warmth in, turning the heat down when you go to bed or go out,
So lower the thermostat, put on another sweater.
close the door to keep the warmth in. Exactly. These are small actions, but they represent a real shift towards saving energy. It's about conscious choices.
And you mentioned air quality earlier. With fireplaces, that seems really important on a personal level too.
It really is. Burning wood or coal, especially inefficiently, creates smoke and tiny particles that are bad for our lungs. That's why cities bring in rules like smoke control zones or broader clean air laws. It's about public health directly.
Okay. And there's a social side to this heating discussion too, right?
Yes, a really significant one. We need to talk about things like fuel poverty or energy
What
poverty.
does that mean exactly?
It's when people, individuals, or whole families simply can't afford to heat their homes properly. It leads to health problems, feeling isolated. It's a major issue of well-being.
That sounds awful.
It is. And it's not just about economics. It ties into bigger conversations about climate justice and basic human rights. Everyone deserves a safe, warm place to live. And these problems are pushing global efforts, like developing green building codes, creating strong climate action plans, and setting ambitious renewable energy targets. It's all connected, trying to build a future that's sustainable, fair, and, yeah, warm enough for everyone.
Wow. So we really have covered a lot today, from those everyday thermostat arguments and the history of keeping warm, right through to the practical language you need, and ending up with these huge global impacts of heating.
We really have.
Yeah.
And understanding the language around heating, like we've talked about, it really does more than just build your vocabulary list. It helps you handle everyday situations better, gives you a window into different ways people live, and honestly, it lets you be part of these really important conversations about energy, the environment, and fairness that are happening everywhere now.
So here's something to think about as we wrap up. Consider how our choices about staying warm today, whether it's turning down the thermostat or supporting cleaner energy, could shape the comfort, maybe even the survival of future generations. What new ideas, what innovations in heating might pop up as we try to balance our own comfort with the health of the planet? How can we live, well, more wisely and maybe more connectedly?